Yes, I do.
Where were you?
I was en route to Salisbury, carrying my brother Robinson back to catch the train to go back to camp.
He was already in the service, was he?
He was already in the service.
And where was he stationed?
He was stationed at Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
Now, at that time, did you know where Pearl Harbor was, or had you ever heard of it or anything?
No whereabouts, no know-how, or nothing of Pearl Harbor.
Right. Now, how'd you feel when you heard the news? You heard it on the car radio?
I heard it on the car radio.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it was war news. But as my personal self, I didn't give it much thought.
Right. You were a little too young.
I was a little too young
Yeah.
at the time.
Right, right. Now, after Pearl Harbor, of course, and war was declared, things started heating up, right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, were you still in school after that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did there come a time when you got the greeting card from Uncle Sam?
Yes, it was.
When was that?
That was, I graduated in May
Of 42?
of 43.
43. Okay.
And I was drafted into the service August the 20th, 1943.
And when you had your draft physical and everything, did you go to Snow Hill?
We went to Snow Hill.
How'd you get from Berlin to Snow Hill?
We
Did you go
had,
by train or?
we went to Snow Hill by automobile.
I see. Okay. And when they gave you your physical there and all that stuff in Snow Hill, did they?
No, I mean the physical was done in the armory in Baltimore.
I see. Okay. So you had been drafted. I mean, they had called you up and you had to go up there to get your physical to make sure you could stay.
That's right.
Okay. And when was that? What month and what year? Remember?
That must have been in July of 1943.
Okay. And were any of your friends with you when you were up in
yes.
Baltimore?
Yes.
Who do you remember? I mean, any of them?
I remember Robert Hunter. I remember Louis Mister. I remember Nathan Smack. I remember some I can't remember because it's been so long.
Right. Well, now, were they all from Berlin or all from Worcester County?
Well, they were from Worcester County.
Right. Okay. And when you went up to Baltimore, obviously you passed your physical.
Yes.
Where did you go then? After you?
We returned home, and we had a 21-day waiting period before we were actually drafted in.
Okay. Where did you first get stationed after you were in?
I was first stationed in North Camp Hood, Texas.
Okay. Now, did you go? Everybody seems to have gone to Fort Meade right at the beginning. Did you go there and then get shipped out to Hood?
Yes.
Right.
That was a shipping out point.
Fort Meade was.
Fort Meade, Maryland.
Right.
Yes.
How'd you get to Texas? By train?
Or by troop train.
Troop train.
Yes.
Okay. And that's at Fort Hood, did you say?
North Camp Hood, Texas.
Camp Hood.
Right now, it's been converted into one operation.
I see. And that's where you took your basic training?
That's where I took my basic training.
I see. Okay. Now, after that, did they give you a specialty, or were you an infantryman, or what happened then?
We were first put in the artillery.
I see.
That's the training we took. I mean, the field artillery training.
Right, right. Now, was the Army, as I understand it, the Army was segregated back then. Were you in an all-black outfit?
All black outfit.
Okay, and you had black officers and the whole thing?
No, we had white officers.
I see, okay. Did you take your artillery training in Texas as well?
Yes.
Then where'd you go after that?
After that, we were shipped overseas.
And where were you shipped to?
To the New Guinea Islands.
Okay. Now,
in the Philippines.
Right, and what time frame are we now, Shumway? I mean, do you remember what month and year you went overseas?
We took basic, maybe we went overseas in the month of January 1944.
I see, all right. And were you with an artillery unit?
No, we had been reconsidered then, and we had, after training, some of us went to the artillery, some of us went to the quartermaster, and some went to the infantry.
Okay, and where did you go?
I went to the quartermaster.
Okay. Now, what was your, when you arrived at New Guinea, were you in a combat zone at that time?
At the time we were.
Okay. How did you land? Did you land by those landing craft? I mean, like you see with the...
Those landing crafts that dropped in the front, and you went out.
Okay. And what was your specific job?
My job was a dispatcher's clerk.
Okay, and what did you do? I mean,
I dispatched all the vehicles to the various points of where they had to go.
I see. Okay. And how long were you on New Guinea?
New Guinea, we must have stayed there maybe 8 or 9 months.
Is that right?
Yes.
And was it a combat situation the whole time?
Just about the whole time.
Did your outfit change or anything, or were you with the same outfit the whole time throughout your career in the war?
I was with the same outfit throughout the whole time.
Okay. Were any of the other Worcester County boys in that same outfit, or after you all got through basic training, did you separate?
Well, luckily, I had about 2 that stayed. We stayed right near each other, not the same company.
Right.
Which was Wardell Curry of Snow Hill, which I knew. And Robert Hunter for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Were either of them injured or anything during the war, or did they make out pretty good?
No, they were all uninjured.
Yeah, good. Good. Well, you all were lucky then.
Yes, we were.
Yeah. When the war ended, of course, now let me think here. You didn't get any leave back then. I mean, when you were in New Guinea and on those islands, you stayed there. You didn't get any respite or anything like that.
We stayed there.
You stayed right there.
Right there.
And for the entire duration.
Until the entire duration.
Good grief, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you meet any famous people or anything like that you remember? Any? I don't guess you got real close to MacArthur or anybody like that.
Well, I did get to see MacArthur.
Oh, did you really?
Yes.
Where was that?
That was in the islands over there.
How about that?
Because we were on quite a few islands.
Right.
In New Guinea.
So you saw him?
Yes.
How about that?
I got to see
Uh-huh.
MacArthur.
Anybody else famous that you remember?
I'm trying to think.
How about any of the USO shows or anything
Yes,
like that?
we had those.
They came to entertain
They
you.
came to entertain us, yes.
When you were on the islands, did you live in tents, or did you have buildings, semi-permanent buildings, or was it pretty much tents?
Part of the time we were in dilapidated buildings, sometimes in tents, and again, what we used to call out on maneuvers in the field.
So you were right in the field.
In the field.
Right.
Yes.
Now, when you did that, you kind of lived on your own. You had
Yes.
ate out of your pack and all
That's
nine
right.
yards, right.
We ate our canteens in the
That's
rain or whatever.
Right.
We were in the field.
But you made out okay. You didn't get any jungle diseases or anything like that, the malaria or nothing like that.
I think I got a slight touch of malaria.
I see.
But it didn't amount to very much.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, when VE Day came, that didn't mean a whole lot to you all because you were still fighting it.
That's right. Because we were in the Southwest Pacific.
Exactly. But when Japan, you remember when Japan surrendered?
Yes.
And where were you then?
I was on the island called, Batangas.
Batangas?
Batangas.
I see.
Yeah.
And how'd you get that news?
Well, it all came across whatever we had, like radios. We had radios.
Okay. Did you ever listen to Tokyo Road?
Yes.
Did you really?
Yes.
Isn't that so?
Yes, we did.
How How about that?
Mhm.
I understand that a lot of her broadcasting was pretty accurate. She knew
Yes.
a lot about what you guys were doing.
She just about had it.
That's terrific.
Yes.
Do you know whether you were going to be scheduled to invade Japan? Were you going to be part of that, or didn't you know?
We didn't actually know that.
Okay.
No.
Now, after Japan surrendered, of course, I guess everybody's getting ready to come home then, right?
Hmm.
How long were you there?
I mean, not everyone.
Mhm. How long were you there after the war?
Well, I wasn't there very long after the war because what was established after the war was what they called a point system.
Right. And you had enough points so that you were one of the earlier
Yes,
ones getting?
I had enough points that I was one of the earlier ones.
As I understand it, the points was the time you were in combat and
Mhm.
all of in other words, the harder you had it in the war,
Yes.
the more points you got.
Yes,
And the more points you had, the earlier you got home.
that's right.
So you, even though you had it tough in the war, it made it easier for you to
Easier
get
for
home.
me to get home quicker or
Right.
to get home, yes.
Right. And I guess you came home by troop ship, did you?
We came home by water.
Mm-hmm. Where did you land? Where did the ship land in the United States? Did you land in California?
In California,
Okay. And then how'd you get across country?
across the country,
Yeah.
up by plane.
By plane?
By plane from
So-
California to, we landed in Washington.
I see. So you
Yeah.
flew, huh?
We flew.
How about that?
Yeah.
Now, were you still with your same outfit? I mean,
No.
By this time, everybody was.
By
kinda
this
on
time, you see, you went to what they call a staging area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, did you get discharged actually before you got home?
No,
You were still a member of the armed
I
services.
was still
when
a
you-
member of the armed services until I got back to the Army in Baltimore,
Right.
and that's where I received my discharge.
Your